Welcome to Leveled Up Conversations, where we take conversations to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
I'm your host, Shane Simmons.
That's true.
This is my colleague, partner in crime, Lucas Furtado.
Also true.
Generally, we do the in 30 seconds or less. Tell us about yourself, but I feel like they're just getting tired of us now.
Yeah, I've done that at least twice.
Yeah. And I said welcome. I really meant welcome back. Been gone for a year.
Season 2.
That first season, took it out of us, you know?
Yeah,
it was some hard work.
I had to take a break.
Did.
You know?
I feel well rested, though, coming back.
Mm-hmm.
We had people all over the place recognizing us on the street, like, hey, come on, bring it back. And we're like...
It was hard, man. Like, Life of Celebrity.
Mm-hmm. We had some requests going out. One of the requests was they want us to have a podcast version. It's too much to look at our faces for that long. Panties get wet. Pants get tighter. So we're working on having a podcast only version. So there's some stuff with being able to get it on iTunes to figure, that's where most people would get them. So we are working on that. It's a work in progress. It's coming. But for now, you just gotta
Season 3.
look at our beautiful faces. Season 3 to come.
Yep.
So you and I did something pretty exciting.
Pretty
last
damn
weekend.
Exciting. Yep.
What was that?
That was the PSX, the PlayStation Experience.
It's true.
It was pretty exciting.
It was pretty great. So that's mainly what this episode is going to be. Generally, we take conversations to the next level. We ended PSX by playing Battleborn, and that's going to kind of go into the leveled up part of this conversation, where we'll talk about hero shooters a little bit. But for now, just going to give you a recap if you weren't blessed to be there. It was pretty great.
That's awesome.
So first we had the conference. We had the keynote when we got there.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of that?
It's alright.
Sorry?
It's alright. They showed off quite a few games, but a lot of it was just in like a montage trailer, where
Like a splash reel or something?
Yeah, a little like 5 seconds of this game, 5 seconds of that game. They did that like twice to show off a lot of stuff. They had a couple, speakers come out and talk in depth more about a couple games.
I was sad Shu wasn't up on stage, but kind of the whole internet. We just want more Shu. They started really strong, I feel. They started with Uncharted 4 and did a good trailer on that. Then, like, halfway through, they showed off Final Fantasy VII. I'm really excited for that reboot, because if you watch previous episodes, you know that remake. It's kind of turning into a reboot, though, because did they have different styles? Anyways, I'm excited for it, because I have only played the tactics games, so I was like, Final Fantasy VII, they're remaking it, good graphics. I'm stoked, that's all I need. And then they showed off the gameplay, and I know a lot of people were more disappointed. They're like, no, they ruined it. And I freaked out. I was like, oh my god, that's the Kingdom Hearts engine. I'm good at those type of games. I want to play this now. So I got all excited about that. What do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm excited as I were, because I haven't played any Final Fantasies at all, because I didn't have PlayStations until the 4th.
Well, they were on Super Nintendo back in the day, or maybe I'm just totally wrong.
I think the Final Fantasy started on Super Nintendo, I think.
Okay.
And then PlayStation got them.
They got him.
Yeah, they got him. I think it's Super Nintendo, but I didn't have Super Nintendo.
Okay.
I started on the N64. And so I know I could have played Final Fantasy. I think it was 10 is when they started. No, 13 is when they started moving them to the other consoles. Anyway, I could have played the other ones, but I did not. So the Final Fantasy VII is one of those games where it's like on everyone's favorite
Best
game.
Ever list.
Yeah, they're like, what's my favorite game? It's like Ocarina of Time and Final Fantasy VII.
And you haven't played either of those.
Yep, I haven't played either one of them.
We're going to fix that, though.
So I am kind of excited, because that was one of the things I wasn't playing 7, was because it's old. Like, it's really old.
No, it's the same way. I can't play a game with really bad graphics. I just can't do it.
That's true, we can't. It's pathetic.
It is. It's sad.
But so the 7, and that doesn't bug me as much, but I know that the game won't hold up well. Like, it's just, there's very few games from that era can be played well now. And I'm not a big fan of JRPGs anyway. So
me neither.
I just didn't feel any real reason to try it. But now that they make it look really pretty,
super pretty,
it looks like the gameplay isn't just the standard JRPG turn-based style, I'm feeling it. I'm not excited, but I'm curious.
Okay.
About trying it
out. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then they, showed some other stuff. They showed a lot of PlayStation VR, which we got to play. We'll get to that later. It was incredible. And then they ended with something that I've just been super hyped about, and that's Paragon, which is a third-person shooter MOBA from Unreal. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we get into the hero shooters towards the end of the episode. So anyways, that was the keynote, and then we played games all that day. We went and saw PS I Love You XOXO live. Your first time seeing anything do that. It was good. They had to cut it off short though, so that was lame, but it was good.
Yeah, it was pretty much just a big, throughout the entire day for both days, we just kind of wandered around the floor.
Mm-hmm. And we were being told like the whole time, like, oh, well, before going there, they were like, oh, we'll have fun going to LineCon. Like, you're gonna spend most of the time in line. It wasn't that bad.
No,
like,
it was only a couple times.
Yeah, like for the majority of things, we only waited like 10 to 25 minutes, I'd say. The longest wait was for Eve Valkyrie, and that was because most VR games needed a reservation that you made through the app, and like they put the reservations available like 3 days beforehand. There was an issue; they had to reset them the next day at noon, and by the end of that night, they were all booked up, and so neither of us made a reservation. So that was the only non-reservation VR that we really saw.
And it was a long demo, too.
Yeah.
The demo was probably like 7 minutes, like 5 to 7.
Yeah, no, you played just a full multiplayer match.
A full match, and so it was a long line. I think we were in line for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, that line was so long, but it was worth it.
Easily.
Yeah.
And that was, I think the next longest was like Battleborn. And that was probably like half an hour to 40 minutes.
Yeah, that wasn't that long. Because they were doing two setups where there was a full 5v5, and it was cool because they were like shoutcasting and stuff as well,
which made it entertaining. Yeah,
that was really. And then they had this huge Battleborn statue, and we worked those kids. So I feel so bad. I felt so for both Battleborn and okay. Anyways, getting a little off topic, so let's structure it a little bit more. So for PSX, Lucas, what's your top 3, and then any honorable mentions you may have?
Top 3. So it's going to be the PlayStation VR, specifically Eve Valkyrie.
Well, not the other game that you played?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you explain the...
Okay.
Well, hold on. So, first of all, the situation in which we got to play PlayStation VR. I know there's a lot of people that work at PlayStation that watch this, so hopefully they don't get us in trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
But, so you had to make a reservation. We already talked about that. And they had, like, this huge thing set up where it was just, like... It was like a structure, and it had all these little cutouts, almost like garages-looking things, and it was 2 stories. And... the line, like, so we walk up to a security guard in front because the line came up on the right side, and we were like, hey, you know, is there any availability, or do we have to make a reservation? He's like, well, you had to make a reservation, but this is on the first day. And he's like, but you can go in the back, and they can put you on like a wait list, basically. We're like, okay. So we walk around to get in the back, and there's like 7 or 8 people in line, and you see the stanchions that like wrap back around, and then you could see them zigzagging back there, and we're like, I'm not going to walk all the way back there and zigzag through the stanchions just to walk up to be like, hey, do you have any availability? So we ducked under the stanchion, and we're, 9th, 10th. We had a couple other people we had Ryan with us. And so it was 9th, 10th, and 11th in line. And we got up to the front of the line. They handed us our PlayStation trading card for doing PSVR. That was a cool thing they had where it was trading cards for each booth. And then they just kind of let us in. We realized later that in the back was the guy who checks for reservations.
We legitimately didn't see him.
We did not mean to.
We accidentally cheated our way into VR.
Totally worth it. 10 out of 10 would cheat again.
Oh, yeah. No, easily. And then when it was that easy, again, we just got into line for the VR. And then it didn't even occur to us that the dude checking it would be out of sight around the corner.
Yep.
So we kind of cheated our way into VR.
Alright, so anyways, Lucas, why don't you explain this incredible immersive experience that you felt on PlayStation VR?
This game, I don't even remember the name of the game, because I'm probably not going to get it. I'm
going to get it.
If it's free, I'll play it just to try the game again. Alright, so the game is you are a person in like a diving suit, apparently, and you are in a school underwater in a school of dolphins. And it's like a normal classroom, right? Normal classroom setting, only that your fellow students are dolphins. And the teacher is this big whale. And you are given a pop quiz to do. Now, the pop quiz is like, it's like nonsensical. Like the question doesn't make any sense. Like they barely structure a sentence together.
I mean to ask you, was it like just a bunch of gibberish, or was it actually words that just didn't make any sense?
That. It was words that made absolutely no sense.
Okay.
They were like making up words. It was like, did so and so do so and so at this? And
so it was like asking about historical events that aren't really any.
Yeah.
Okay.
That are obviously not real. And there was a couple other questions where it's just like you're supposed to have no way of knowing, and it's multiple choice. It's 1 out of 4, and you use the controller to like control which one you're going to take.
No, we're using the PlayStation controller or the PlayStation Move?
Just a basic PlayStation controller. Okay. The VR aspect was just simply your camera view. And so the controller was used to take the test and to take the next page. There's 10 questions. They use the VR because you can't know, you have to cheat off of the other dolphins. And because they're dolphins, they're smart. So they will always answer the questions right. And so you have to look over at them. And so that's where the VR comes in. You'll sit there and you'll like lean over. And you can lean really far and the VR will know. So you can like lean forward real back. You can kind of like turn around, look at the dolphin behind you, like go over the shoulder and one in front of you. And then, of course, if the teacher sees this, she gives you like a check. And if you get 3 checks, you fail. And the dolphins, if they see you cheating off of them, they will like make noise to pull the teacher over to give you a check. And so, and on top of that, you can hold down, what was it, circle, I think, and you can throw an eraser, like at certain things that are highlighted on the around the classroom, and that'll distract them. You know, the teacher will run over to the eraser, and all the dolphins will look in that direction and like yap, and then the whale will shut them up, and that so that gives you an opportunity to cheat. That was my VR game. I played that for a little bit. It was not timed. It was timed. It was 3 minutes, and I got 5 of the 10 questions right. The biggest problem I had was just seeing not actually the cheating part, because it was pretty easy to see that. It was they had to be on the same page as you. So I had to figure out if they were answering the same question I was trying to answer.
It was really funny because when we got out of VR, like me and another guy we were with, Ryan, we were just kind of blown away, and we were standing there and we were talking about. I played London Heist, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and he played some like galaxy exploration game where he had a jetpack, and he was talking about how he flew up really high in the air, and then he ran out of juice and started falling, and it like gave him a little bit of vertigo, and we're all excited, and then Lucas comes up, and he's like, let me tell you about the game that I played. So, anyways, top 3. Number 1, Eve Valkyrie?
Was Eve Valkyrie, and so just case in point, I was excited for VR after playing that. And it's like, this is barely even a game by any game standards. And it's dumb. And it's a ridiculous game that I swear they had a huge list of ridiculous checkpoints. So they're like, we got to make it underwater. We're going to make him cheat off of a quiz. And he's going to be cheating off dolphins. And they did all that. And I was still excited. Because between the headphones and the VR, it was actually weirdly immersive.
Now, did you wear your glasses?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the VR headset actually fit over them fine. I was worried.
Comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a little snug on me.
I wore mine the second time, and it pushed it back a little bit, but it was fine.
But I was still excited for VR after all that. But what made me really excited was Eve Valkyrie. So that was my number 1. That was, like I said, an hour and a half wait for that, and I would do it again.
Yep.
In a heartbeat, even if we did meet up with a friend in line, like I still would have. I would have done that easily. That was just, and it was even like all the controls were on like a normal PS4 controller. Like that game would still be pretty fun even if it wasn't with VR.
Yep.
But the VR, you were the pilot at that point.
Yeah, Eve Valkyrie. We both played this, and this is on my list of top 3 as well. And you are basically, they sit you in a chair, they put the VR headset on, they put the headphones on, you have the controller, and you are in a spaceship, so it's like dogfighting in space, full 360 control, and your head is your camera. So you have all the different, weapons and everything equipped. You pick a different style ship, and it like shoots you out of this door, and then you're just going in the other team. It was deathmatch, and felt really bad because, oh my goodness, it was an hour and a half wait. So the other people that we're playing against as well, waited an hour and a half. And we get up to the front, and we're talking strategy, and the guy, like, the front of the line was kind of looking at us all weird, like, everyone was just here, just excited to be here, and we're like, all right, here's what we're going to do, gonna stick together. He was like, oh, be sure and use the brake, no one ever does that, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, totally use the brake and stuff. And we get in there, and it's like halfway through the match, and anytime you use VR, there was always a PlayStation person next to you, or one of the devs there.
Yeah.
So the dev sitting next to me, he was trying to tell me that, like, you guys are doing really good. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, no, that's good to say. I figured, like, oh, he tells us to all the cute guys. But he was like, no, you guys are doing really, really good. And I was like, awesome. He's like, no. No one on your team has died yet. And I was like, really? Okay. He's like, yeah, you guys have 10 times their score. I was like, holy crap. So yeah, we won that, and our whole total deaths was 3.
Yeah. There's 4 of us. There's 4 of us.
Yeah, there's 4v4.
And one of us didn't die, and the other 3 died once.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was... It felt kind of like, from my perspective, I was usually chasing people that would fly off on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I chased after them and kill them. So I spent a lot of time just sitting there, just flying forward, like, really things. So it didn't seem that action-packed. So, like, me not dying didn't really occur to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea how the team's doing, because I was nowhere near anybody for most of that match. And I was like, well, I'm like 4-0, I think, at this point. Like, I mean, I was just spending the whole time chasing, and then I looked at the score afterward, and it was like, yeah, you guys did really well.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
It's like,
and then afterward, Shane pointed out, they waited the same time we did. That's the experience they got.
Yeah.
I was like...
When we made, I was like, oh, guys. And they were like, what? I was like, they just waited an hour and a half to get destroyed. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad. But anyways, one thing, we met someone in line. His name is Ben. And he just was in line behind us. And we just started up a conversation. One of the guys we were with, Ryan, he wanted the beta of Fortnite. Ben had an extra key, gave it to Ryan. We started talking. We spent the whole next day together. We had him on PSN later. And it was really cool because, like, everyone there was super friendly. We were all like, oh, where did you get that card? Oh, I got it from here. Did you know you could go play this booth? Hey, this line's really short. If you log into their website, they'll give you a t-shirt, like stuff like that. And it was just a really cool environment.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like being an amusement park, but everybody's nice. Like, generally you go to an amusement park, everyone's doing their own thing, everyone wants to get in line, everyone's upset because they're standing out in the sun and waiting, and everyone here was just super hype. We're all there for the same thing, for the same reason, and it was just it was a great community.
That's what I would think and hope would happen.
Yeah.
This. When you get a bunch of gamers together, and we're pretty, like, hardcore fans to want to go to a PSX event. And so I would think that everyone would be really cool. We're all there for this, like you said, same reason. We're all hardcore gamers, and that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. We saw like 2 examples of like terrible people.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's your number 1 most favorite.
That's number 1 because that's a VR seller.
Yeah.
Like I'll get VR now so I can play Eve Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Like, and VR is probably going to be like $300. I'm like, worth it for that game.
All right. Second favorite.
Second game is the shirt that I'm wearing. It's called Dead Star. It's like a kind of indie game. It's a decent sized team, but it's still kind of indie.
Yep.
It's like a twin stick, top down space shooter. Where you go into...
It's PvP, because most twin stick games aren't.
Yeah, so PvP. It's a PvP, but the controls are twin stick like.
Yeah.
And you pick from 1 of 3 classes of ships, and each class has like 4 different kinds of ships. Mm-hmm. And then your goal is they're probably gonna have more when they actually launch the game, but they have like a conquest mode where you're on like a grid and you want to go capture like a base and then hold it, and in the meantime you're killing people and you get more points the more bases you have, that kind of thing. It's just really cool. Like it's a really like just a simple idea in that sense. Yeah. So the map is like little, is it octagons, pentagons? Hexagons? I don't know my gods. So it's a lot of little hexagons, and he was saying like, there's all these different layouts, and basically, it's somewhat King of the Hill deathmatch base control. I don't know how to really describe it. So one layout, for example, is it's like, all right, this is you, your base is over here. This is where you start spawning. Hexagon, 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 hexagon. Them, and you come out, and so these 4 are going to be neutral. And so you go and you sit on them to capture the base, and then there will be there's asteroids everywhere. He said it was randomly generated environments. So there's like pieces of ships floating. There's regular asteroids. There's asteroids with like these green glowing stuff on it. So you blow those up, you get resources you can take back to your base and build up your base. And we've been playing the beta recently, and the teams I've been doing on have been doing really good because I've just been playing defense the whole time. I'm just staying inside these main areas, using my equipment to destroy these asteroids, pick up the resources, dump them in a base, build the base up. When you do that, it gets better defenses, so it's harder to take for the enemy. It gets cannons, it gets shields. It'll spawn AI ships that you can walk up to and like make follow you, so you have these little AI partners, which is really cool because, like Lucas said, there's 3 different classes of ships, right? So there's the light, the medium, and the heavy. And they all do something, different, and they each have 4 different, very unique abilities. It kind of felt
like a MOBA in that sense, where each individual ship was like its own character.
Pretty much.
You have these very unique abilities that are all specific to one character, and it's how you use those in each situation, which was great. But it'd be like I would be like a medium-sized ship, right? So other ships could outrun me, and I couldn't take much damage, but I had a heal on me, which was cool. So I would go back to base, and I would be like, all right, these 2 little ships and this 1 large ship are going to come with me, like AI-controlled ships. So I'd have a fast ship come by, and the 2 fast ships would chase him, so he'd be messing with them, and I could kill him. Or a big ship, and I'd literally be using my big ship as a shield, like going back and then healing him, and it was really great. There's a lot of depth, a lot of strategery that can be put into it.
And I can tell there's going to be a high skill ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
For that game. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of skill in using the twin stick, because you use one to move and one to fire your gun.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guns aren't like they're like skill shots. Like there's very little though where you just kind of select a general area and fire. You know, like homing missiles. There's not too many homing missiles.
Yeah, and if it was, the one that I found was the big slow ass ship where it was just like.
Or if you did, a lot of ships have lasers which you aim, and those can shoot down the missiles.
So it was very skill based,
and it's very mobile like. You know, like each time you go in, you start off level from the beginning, either killing ships or mining.
But it doesn't have that. A lot of people are afraid of MOBAs because they're like, oh, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to get beat for a long time. And because that was our experience with League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
Like, you lose until you get to level 30, and then you're like, oh, I've learned how to not die all the time. Let me try actually killing someone. But that wasn't the experience here. It was pretty easy to understand the core concept of the game, and then just kind of go from there.
And the whole mining thing that the game has is essentially a non-combat way to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy I was talking to was saying that he wouldn't get very many kills in a game. He wasn't very good, but he would pretty consistently get the most points because he'd pick a medium ship which can hold more ore, and he would go off and just mine. And like there's no PvP at that point.
Yeah, and it's a huge advantage to your team.
But it's huge because then when the bases get upgraded, they're harder to take and they get more points.
Yeah, so it's like the other team's getting a lot more kills, killing your allies, but they can't take the base because you built it up so good. And it's like, because of that we win.
And it works.
Yeah, it'd be like if in a MOBA you could improve your towers by going to the jungle and killing neutral monsters.
Only everyone can do it. So
yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But I liked it a lot, and I like space stuff anyway as a bonus. So that's probably my second favorite. That was going to be my favorite until Valkyrie.
Yeah. Oh, and with Dead Star, so we got... You checked in at all the different booths you go to, and we got the beta for Dead Star by checking in. I don't know if it's open beta now, or if you you should go and sign up. I would just Google Dead Star.
Like 30 players playing the beta.
Yeah, it's really fun. It takes a little while to find a match, but once you do, it's great. So I encourage everybody just to try it out. It's PS4 and PC. So yeah, definitely check that out.
The third game, it would probably be Battleborn. There isn't like a third game that springs to mind, or like that is definitely the game that I had the most fun playing.
All right, well I'm gonna pause you there then, because that'll be our.
We're ending with.
Yeah, so we'll end with that.
So just real quick, it was probably Battleborn.
Okay.
That was really fun. The honorable mention, a smaller one is just a tiny little indie game called Drifter. It was kind of fun that I played. It's made by one guy.
Oh, I watched you play that. I never played it myself.
It's just a space
there was like numbers and stuff popping everywhere. I was like, that's too much math. Fuck that.
And the HUD was barely even made either.
Yeah,
that was the main thing he was working on. It's like No Man's Sky, only you're only in space. Is essentially what it was.
And it was top-down view, or was it? No, it's third person.
Yeah, third person behind your ship. That was pretty cool, but that's very much like literally one guy's doing everything except the sound. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting that game in like 2020 or something.
That was another cool thing about being here is it wasn't like PlayStation employees at the booth. It was the developers that you got to meet there and talk to them. Yeah.
The main honorable mention was a game called, was it Lichdom Battle Mage or Battle Mage Lichdom? No, it was Lichdom Battle Mage. We were in line for Dead Star, and it was behind us. And the second day, and I remember that, so they had the devs sitting there, and they kind of just tell you the controls and what you're doing and the point of the game and all that stuff, and they kind of walk you through their little demo section. And I remember he was describing it to somebody else, and he was like, think of it like the magic system and like of Skyrim and like BioShock. And like, perk my ears up. I was like, hey, whoa, what? Because in Skyrim, that's what I did. I was a pure mage.
Yeah, you downloaded the mods to where it like made the skill tree for mages good and put all that stuff into it. So.
I did that too later. And so I just pure mage that, and I'm like, I like both those games. So I tried it, and it really is just like the mage-only version of Skyrim. It was a relatively small little area. You kill like 15 skeletons. They used, he only had fire, ice, and like corruption magic.
Mm-hmm.
But it really did remind me of that,
And it was cool the way you combine those abilities too, because he was like, if you...
They combo on each other.
Yeah.
So like there was the corruption one, which doesn't do any damage. You just throw basically a block of worms at someone. And doesn't do anything on its own. But if you light the worms on fire, it triggers a much bigger explosion than does a dot, or like you can freeze them and it lasts longer.
And they had like, where if they were like corrupted... I think there was something to, if you did the double corruption charge, hit them with it, and then killed them, worms like flew out of them and would now attack people around. And I was like, that was cool.
It was really cool. So that was a game that it's not like the third one because it was barely fleshed out.
Yeah,
like that was a very small, limited demo, so it's kind of hard to form an opinion about it. So I'm excited to see what they go
for more.
For forward. But as it stands, Battleborn was a little more fleshed out, so I had more fun playing it.
For sure.
What you, man?
For me, top 3, number 1 was the VR game that I played. I really liked Eve Valkyrie, but like you said, it could be a game without VR. So I'm going to go with the London Heist. And so I got sat down in a chair, put on the goggles. I took my glasses off for this one because I just can't see small things far away. So I was like, for VR, that shouldn't be a problem since the screen's right in front of my eyes. It's like virtual depth. And it wasn't, so that was nice. So I put the goggles on, the headphones on, and he hands me the PlayStation Move controllers. And I was like, all right, this is what I want. And you're just sitting there, you're in a van next to, I think it was British, London Heist, that makes sense. So you're just in the van, and you can see your hands, and they look like kind of like the master hands from Smash Bros. Except I'm wearing gloves. Not the white Nintendo gloves, but like actually like green. I figured. Yeah. Anyways, and you're just sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, that was good. I'm glad we got away." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, but okay." I was like, "Yay, us!" And so I just started messing with stuff, and like you can turn the radio up and down. I opened the glove box. There was a can of soda in there, so I grabbed it, and he was like, "I wouldn't drink that if I were you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So Z was close your hand. So you had the bottom triggers on both controllers. So I was moving them around. Look around, and then Z was close my hand. So I closed my hand on it, and I'm holding Z, holding in my hand. He comments on it. I was like, ah. So I then grabbed the door handle, opened the door, threw the can out the door, and closed it. And then he was like, "Oh, you're just gonna litter?" And I looked at him, and I was like, he had a drink up on on his dash. So I hit that off. He's like, "Come on, man!" So I thought that was cool, like the way that he was commenting on the things that I was doing. And all of a sudden, we started getting shot at, and I'm like looking for a gun. And there's a duffel bag in between him and I like I opened the duffel bag up, and there's a bunch of clips in it, like Uzi clips, and I picked them up, and I was like looking for a gun, didn't see it, so I started throwing, I like opened the door and was throwing the clips at the enemy, and it would like hit them, and they'd like react to it, but I never actually took it out. I was like, I'm doing it, and I saw they were infinite, so I was like, okay, this will work, I'll just keep throwing them. And then he's like, here, take this, and he throws me an Uzi, and I put my hand up for it, but I didn't hit Z to close it. I thought I would just like auto-equip, and so it just falls to the ground. So I'm trying to get it up off the ground, and he's swerving, so the gun's like rolling around. So I get it, and I had it with my left hand, and I like empty a full clip, and I can't hit anything because I'm not left-handed, and like it may seem like a little thing, but in video games you never think, oh, I can't shoot with my left hand because I'm not. But I'm like all over the place, and I'm like, oh. So I let go and like grab it with the other hand. No, I had to put the other hand up and hit Z to like pull it out. And then it runs out of ammo, and I'm like, and I'm reaching for the buttons on the move wand, and the guy like put his hand on my shoulder in real life, and he was just like, the clip's in the bag, and I was like, oh, okay. So I grabbed one, and I put it in the gun, and then I can start shooting at them again. And it was cool because I was treating it like it was an old arcade game. So just kind of putting it in front of them and pulling the trigger, and the bullets, some of them were hitting, but it wasn't very good. I had to like look at the line of them because there was no HUD for where I was aiming, right? So what I finally clicked in my head was I have to treat this like it's real because it's virtual reality. So I had to look down the iron sights on the gun and use those to shoot, and that was really cool. I also had a guy in a motorcycle pull up next to me, and I opened the door and hit him off the bike, and it was just like, that was awesome, and I could like lean back and look behind me. So that was really cool. I remember when he took the headphones off me, I was like, that was incredible! Oh my god, that was so insane! So that was just blew my mind. So that was my number one thing there. Number two, played a lot of things. Number 2 was probably Dead Star for me as well. I really... You know what? No. Number 2... Crap, I can't remember what it was called. It was the Tetris Jenga thing. Do you remember what that was?
I don't remember the name of it.
Ah, oh, damn it. There was a game that we played, and I was like, this is a party game. I need to have this at home. I'm going to play this all the time. Basically what it is it's like you have Tetris blocks that are coming down. You can control them, and it's multiplayer. And we played Race. And so there was a finish line, like way up at the top, and you had to build up, because they don't like get destroyed like Tetris does when you make a full line. So you have a surface, put a block down, it's physics-based, so it'll fall over, and you're stacking to get as high as you can. That in itself would have been kind of fun.
Pretty cool idea.
There was checkpoints along the way, and when you hit a checkpoint, you got a magical ability. And you could hit X to be offensive. No, you could hit X to help yourself. So, like, one of the things, it would have, like, vines around your block, so when you put it down, it would, like, grab the other blocks and hold them solid. There was one that was just made out of cement, so when you put that, there was no physics based on it. It stayed there. And there was one which was amazing, which just, like, put another floor down for you.
Like up in the air.
Yeah, just a hovering little piece of extra floor. There was Circle that would just mess up the other 3 players that you were playing against. So, like, it would attach a balloon to their block so they would fall really, really slowly. I think there was one that was just, like, a gust of wind that would kind of, like, blow it, so if it wasn't structurally sound, it would fall over. And it was really cool. So we were just do. I remember I messed mine up because I did the cement. It was just the regular square. That's what shape a square is. And I went to drop it. And it was the cement one, so there's no physics, right? But I accidentally turned it a little bit. So now, like, my base was this. So I couldn't put anything on it. So luckily I got one of just the hovering base, so I put that up in the air, and if it was anything that wasn't the block or the straight line, I just kind of dropped it on the crap that was there and then started just building it from that. So that was really fun. That was probably my number 2. And then number 3, I don't know. Dead Star was great. I watched Firewatch, I didn't actually play it. Into the Gungeon was really cool. There was that game from Adult Swim Games that was really cool that reminded me of Excalibur.
Brutal.
Oh yes, the Brutal was really good. It was like Gauntlet, but then it had more. It was a more serious Gauntlet in the fact of like your health. You know, you could only take a couple hits before you died, but it was all in like Tron graphics, and it was all randomly generated worlds. So that was awesome. I saw Firewatch. I didn't want to play any of it. I saw it though, but that was really cool. Yeah, that's what my shirt is, Firewatch. I'm stoked for that game coming out in February. And we played Ratchet & Clank, which was great.
That was pretty fun.
Yep. We played Far Cry Primal, which looks really cool. I wish that I don't know. Everyone was talking about how beautiful it was, and I was like, this looks just like Far Cry 4, so I have no idea what anyone's talking about. I feel like that game should have just been like a Far Cry Blood Dragon thing, like a standalone DLC.
Yeah, because it's pretty obviously
the exact same engine.
Yeah,
does not look updated at all.
Like the same,
but it was fun.
Yeah, no, it was a fun game. It's a cool idea. I like the idea of going back where it's not like more and more modern. It's actually like you have your 3 weapons are a bow, spear, and a club.
Yep. Then the whole animal companion thing.
And that's going to be really cool. But it was pretty expansion-y of Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
Still going to get it, probably. Because Far Cry 4 is really cool.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see what you're saying. Like, it's kind of expansion-y.
Yep. Brawlhalla was also really cool. It was like Smash Bros, but each character, like, it was more apparent of like their stats, showed them at the bottom, and there was weapons that were like, okay, here's the weapons that your character has, and they drop and you pick them up, and it was easier to get back up. It was really fun. It was definitely based off of Smash Bros.
It's definitely the same idea. You hit someone just hard enough to where you build up a bar on them, then you hit them hard enough and they fly off screen.
Yeah. Like, as far as like the most fun thing that I did there, if that's what we're doing by top 3, it would be Battleborn as well. Any other honorable mentions though before we get into that? Oh, Rocket League. The people from Rocket League was there. I got a Rocket League shirt.
Yep.
That was awesome. Came home immediately. Remember that I hadn't bought all the DLC, so I went and got all that. So that was great. There was a lot of good indie games there. They had Darkest Dungeon there because that's coming to Vita. They announced Bastion for Vita, so I immediately bought that like that night.
I think that was during the keynote. I'm pretty sure that's what he was most excited about. Like more than Final Fantasy, more than anything else. It was the fact that...
we did Sparrow Racing.
We did. We tried that out.
When they announced it, I was like, oh, Destiny Sparrow Racing, cool. And then it's just another... I don't know. I'm so jaded off Destiny right now. Like, we probably spent like 700-800 hours in that game. And they're like, oh, we created Sparrow Racing. It's a timed event. And the only rewards that you get from this timed event are more things to use in this timed event. And you can go into with it whatever you want. But the stuff that you get from the timed event are better for the timed event. And you can also buy stuff for silver, real world money. Oh, is it? And it's just like... Anyways, I digress. Played the Bloodborne DLC there a little bit too, which was cool. But yeah, it's gotta be Battleborn. So that's gonna get us into the main topic of the show. That'll be our leveled up conversation. Has to do with hero shooters. So there's a lot of them coming out recently. The guy who did Gears of War, Cliff Bleszinski. Yes, he's making a hero shooter. There's Battleborn, there's Overwatch, there's Gigantic, there's more than that, and I just can't think of them right now.
So those are the ones I know of.
Yeah, so Paragon's beta start. I was going to throw Paragon in there as well, and that's what kind of got this conversation going. Oh, well, you could consider Rainbow Six Siege a hero shooter. Because it's a class-based shooter. That was kind of the conversation. It's like, what's a hero shooter, and why are there so many coming out all at the same time? So hero shooter's been thrown around a lot, and it's kind of like when you have a class. It's like an RPG first-person shooter, basically. I feel like is a good way to describe it. Where you can pick from all these different characters. You pick the character you like, and then you throw them into a shooter. Into
a multiplayer match. So I would think that's when people think of a hero shooter. Because it's like, I think the idea was just, it's a MOBA where it's like a shooter, like a third-person game or a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
With a MOBA game type.
Okay.
Where you get your...
So like a shooter MOBA is what you think of when you think of hero shooter.
Yeah, and then I can see where hero shooter comes from, because then they make each class this individual like character. But I mean, that's how it was in MOBAs too. So for me, it was just a MOBA where it's just now a shooter instead of the usual top-down mode that Dota or League has.
That's good. So we both played a lot of League of Legends, so we're familiar with the MOBA genre.
Quite a bit.
And I mean, we've both played a lot of shooters, so we're very familiar with that. So we kind of want to talk about it, give our thoughts on how we feel about it. We both played Gigantic. We both played Battleborn. And so yeah, like, what do you think so far about the hero shooters that are coming out? Do you like this game type? Are there things you wish they could do better? Things that you think that, you know, they do great that kind of astounded you? Anything like that?
So, like I said, we played a lot of League, and that's what I'm going to base a lot of it off of. That's my only real MOBA that I played. I didn't play Dota or anything, or Smite or anything else like that.
And with MOBAs, it's generally like... change topic again. But that was one thing like about the hero shooters. They are all coming out near the same time, so you're going to split the audience like that. But also, since they're similar to MOBAs where it's very skill-based and very class-based, you learn a class, you get really good with that class, and then you continue playing that and kind of just doing better. But this is the role you like to play. And I feel like with MOBAs, like you either play League of Legends, or you play Heroes of the Storm, or you play Dota, or you play Smite. You don't play all of them. Like I'm yet to meet a person that that plays both of them constantly.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because I think that comes from they're all similar.
They're so similar but so different in like all these different aspects. And also a big thing about MOBAs is they get updated all the time, right? So you have to stay up to date on these patch notes.
Yeah, that's part of what kind of keeps you in League, is the fact that there's so much depth to it, and so then you can really just sink time and thought into the game, and then once a month they're like, here's this new item, or here's this new champion every 2 weeks.
Or we redid the whole jungle.
Or we redid everything. We redid quite literally everything like recently.
Again,
so you have to, it's one of those things where like if you come back in after a year, it's like, it takes a while to get back into it. So you kind of, it encourages you to keep playing. But yeah, it's a hero shooter. Just actually, now that I thought about it a little more, it's like a MOBA where they take out the inventory system. You don't have the items.
Yeah, no, I can see that. They all try to have their own form of items. Like in Battleborn, you're collecting resources as you go around, and you can use those resources to like build up turrets and stuff. Because the goal in at least the match that we played, which seems like their main match type, is you have minions like you do in a MOBA, but the goal isn't to destroy the enemy's base. The goal is to have, you get points for kills, but you also get points for the minions making it to the, it's like a door in the middle. So like the map setup, just think of it like a hallway for an easy example, and you have minions spawning on both sides. That's your base. There's turrets that are unkillable where they come out, so you can't just spawn kill the minions. The minions will go along a preset path that's very obvious on the ground into a door that's generally near the opposite of the middle, and if they can make it through that, then your team gets points. So you're trying to kill the other team's minions, build up these turrets that'll help you kill the other team's minions and kill the other team. When you kill minions in their turrets, they drop a resource. You can use that resource to build up your turrets or to buy items for your character that are like little buffs, but it's not a store. You can pull it up anywhere, and it was like 3 different things, and you choose one of the 3, or if you do good enough,
and you also like
have all 3.
Like with Battleborn, they were like loot based too.
Yeah,
like, those upgrades were like randomized.
Yeah, you got drops. I think it was from kills, and then you could then like it dropped, but then you had to buy it. Type of thing. So. Gigantic, did that have anything like that? There was no shop in Gigantic, was there?
No, because they used the system of
you had to
like a bar to build up, and then you went to like an area and you whatever it would be called.
Oh, you could either use your skill points to build points that had to be captured, and you were building like creatures that either healed you, did dots, did like single target damage, did AoE. Yeah.
And then
you could use them on your skill points, right?
Your ultimate.
Your ultimate, that's what it was. When your ultimate was off cooldown, you could use your ultimate or build this tower.
Put points into this, what is effectively a tower.
Yeah.
So they had that resource management.
And with Battleborn, it was cool because when you leveled up in Gigantic, it was like, at least from what I remember, you weren't losing anything, did you?
No.
You weren't picking, do you want this or this? It was just, when do you want this?
Well, it was a skill tree. So it'd be like...
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it'd be like, it'd be 1 of 2. So it's like, I want like the bow guy, it'd be like, I want each shot to do more damage, I can charge it up. Right. Or I want to shoot 3 shots.
That's right.
And you pick one of those, it's like, okay, now that you want more damage per shot, do you want it to do poison, or do you want it to charge up even more? If you pick the volley one, it was like, do you want those to poison, or do you want those to do this?
Yeah, and that's where the customization comes into play, right? Because when it was being explained to me, like being, I put over 1,500 hours into LoL, like it was, oh, there's no shop, and it's like, cool, so there's no, every time you play the character it's the same, because in LoL if there was no shop that would be the case, because it's when do you want to pick this skill. It's not do you want this skill or that skill, because you'll always end up at level 18 with everything maxed, except for Udyr, but I think that's the only, anyways, but without a shop there's less customization. But with Battleborn and with Gigantic, with Battleborn, it was very simple. It was a tree. It wasn't a tree. It was 2 options.
Either or.
It was, all right, you hit level 3. At level 3 for this character, you get to pick this ability or this ability. Which one do you want? Or you hit level 4. Which one do you want? You hit level 5. And it was really easy to pull that up and pick abilities too, because I was a little worried about that. So they did a really good job. So what are things that you're disliking about these hero shooters that are coming out? If anything at all.
I haven't tried too many because I'm not really into PvP. Like, I know I dumped a ton of time into LoL, but that was more because all my friends played it. I played a grand total of 2 matches by myself, and both times I was like, yep, that's why I'm not playing it by myself. And I didn't even really want to play with a pair. Like, I wanted 3 or more people each time. Yeah. It was more because my friends were playing it, so as soon as they stopped, I stopped. Like, I had no reason to keep going. And so I'm not into PvP, and these are all universally PvP games.
Except for
Battleborn, which has a campaign that they're
and that's the
really
big
pushing.
Thing they're trying to... Yeah. We're not just a MOBA, BTW.
Yeah,
when Randy Pitchford went up on stage during PSX, it was a little awkward because he was like, hey, we made Borderlands. Don't forget that. We're not... We make games you love. Borderlands is a new IP, and you loved that. We're making a new IP. It's not just a MOBA. We promise. There's co-op, there's couch co-op, there's single. So that was funny.
So I haven't tried too many. I'm not really anxious to try like Battleborn or Overwatch or Paragon or anything like that. Like, I'll probably give them a go, just try it. And Battleborn I'm a little more about, just because the single player that they have. Yeah. And if that's the case, like if I play the single player, I might kind of dabble in like the PvP aspect, kind of try it out. If you and like 3 other people I'm playing with only.
So that was a question that I had for you then, because when we played Battleborn, it was really fun.
Yes.
And we had a 4-man team. It was 5v5. There was 4 of us and then 1 random. And we had a strategy. We went into it. We executed the strategy. We demolished the other team. Like, it was so bad.
It was like 180 to 500.
Yeah. No, I don't even think they got 180. I think it was like 120. Anyways, but was playing Battleborn, did that give you the same, like, amount of fun back in the day playing LoL 5v5?
Roughly. I know, because it's the same thing with Gigantic. Like, I played Gigantic, and I thought it was really fun for, like, a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't want to play Gigantic anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we played in I think it was the alpha.
Yep.
I don't really care for the beta. When it launches, I'll look at it again and probably be like, I'll try it out, and then be like, yep, this is fun for a week, and then stop again.
Mm-hmm.
They don't hold my interest. Like, PvP inherently doesn't hold me.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun, and it's a really cool idea, and I love Borderlands is my favorite. Borderlands 2 is my favorite shooter. Like, I like them a lot.
More than Halo?
Yeah.
Damn.
But I don't think I'll even get it. And if I do, it'll be, I don't know. But it's just PvP. I can't really do it.
So you do like Battleborn more because of the single player aspect?
Yes.
So that would get
and it has that Gearbox attitude that comes with Borderlands.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Humor, it was funny. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
For me, I'm really excited about the hero shooters. It's one of those things where I'm looking at them, like I was really looking at Overwatch before they announced Paragon, and I was just like, alright, I want to play one of these because I really enjoy shooters, I really enjoy competitive games, I enjoy PvP, and I enjoy the strategy and the teamwork that MOBAs call for. So if you can put those two together, like that's like my dream game, but everything I was seeing I was kind of iffy about. I was like, I mean, Battleborn was fun, but it wasn't great. Gigantic was cool, but it wasn't amazing. And there was just all these little like things that were just kind of, I don't know, maybe. And then I saw the gameplay trailer for Paragon, and I was like, that is what I want. Because I mainly jungle in LoL, so like I was thinking about, how would jungle work in a shooter? And I was, for whatever reason, I was thinking of it like a 2D plane, like they have in MOBAs. But they did an interview and they were talking to him, and he's like, no, there's depth and there's height, there's trenches that you can hide in, there's walls that you climb up, you can dive from the top of a lane basically down at the people below. And I was like, that's amazing. And they were talking about, it's a shooter, so here are all the different classes, but I mainly play bruiser, like melee up in your face. And in the gameplay trailer, they show a guy with a shield, and he uses what looks like his ultimate, where he throws the shield out, and it just makes this big wall that enemies can't shoot into, but you can shoot out. And I was like, that's a MOBA ability, hands down. Yeah. That's what I like in this third-person skill-based shooter. And I was like, oh, I can't wait until the beta comes around in January, and we can see more. So, it's basically, what do you feel about these hero shooters? Are you interested? Do you think they're just trying to cash in on the MOBA market? Do you think they have much potential? Is there too much oversaturation with them? Love to hear your thoughts. So thank you for coming back, watching our show again. We're going to try and be more consistent. It's December right now, so don't know how consistent we can be. But starting next year, we're going to be trying to shoot every Friday or Saturday and have it released by Tuesday. And hopefully we'll have the podcast aspect of it down by that time.
Hopefully.
So, Lucas, thank you for being on the show.
Of course.
Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, plugs and stuff. I am at @theanomaly_ on Twitter. Lucas is
too good for Twitter.
Too cool for Twitter. And we'll see you next time.